नहमदुहु व नुसल्ली अला रसूलिहिल करीम अम्मा बाद फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू. Now in the previous lesson we have looked all the preposition particles which was applied on the noun. Here we will be looking at the preposition particle where they would be applied on the pronoun, and thus they would be making a preposition phrases as well. Now these three lessons, lesson number 23, 24 and 25 are very important because you would see these phrases a lot in Quran. So just to avoid the headache, just understand it here so that you can easily get what exactly is in the Quran. Now here we would be looking at the preposition pronouns and phrases, and also together with it we will be looking at the lam of exhortation. Now in one of the previous lessons we have looked at three tables, and where one table was used for detached pronouns and the two table was used for the attached pronouns, and we will be now taking the attached pronoun. But there were two attached pronouns tables. One of them was used for the nasab case and another one was used for the jar case, because the preposition particle pushes the noun or the pronoun into the jar, so therefore we will be using the jar table. So let's practice that jar table again. I have it here for who, huma, whom, and that is what we can call it as attach who, attach huma, attach whom. So that means something would be attaching here because we will be applying the preposition particle here then. So attach who is used for his, and it is also used for it because there is no it in Arabic. So you have to take the function of it from the who here. So huma and then whom. Now for the third person feminine case we have to use that ha, huma, hunna, and then for the second person it is used the ka, kuma, kum, and that's for the masculine. For the feminine is then ki, kuma, kunna, and then last one is ye or ya. Dual case and the plural case would be served by one pronoun, which is then na. Now we will take the preposition particle and apply it on this table and make the preposition phrases from this one. Now let's take the prepositions, and we have learned 11 prepositions. Out of those 11 prepositions, only 7 prepositions would be used for the pronoun preposition phrases. So those are ba with a kasra, lam with a kasra, fi, min, an, ala, and ila. So those 7 would be used only and only for the preposition phrases, and the rest one would not be used, like ta with a fatha, kaf with a fatha, and then hatta and wa with a fatha. Now let's take one by one and apply that on the table. Now let's apply the ba with the kasra on this whole table first of all, and then when it goes with the who, so it is bihu, bihuma, and then bihum, and the next one would be biha, bihuma, bihunna. Now you have seen that this bihu, bihuma, bihum, there is who just there. Now if you remember, we have learned some rules in lesson number 16 about the who. So if who is preceded by something, then it's changed itself accordingly. So I'm going to write those rules again on the left side here, and then I'm going to apply that ba on the who. So when ba is applied on the who, it will become bihu, and since the who is preceded by a kasra, and that's the rule number 2, where it says that preceded by a letter of the kasra, change the vibration of the who to a standing kasra. So that would then change it to bihi. And the example of the bihi is from Surah Kaf, chapter number 50, verse number 9, where it says that وَنَزَّلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً مُبَارَكًا فَأَنبَتْنَا بِهِ جَنَّاتٍ وَحَبَّ الْحَصِيدِ. وَنَزَّلْنَا, that we, the na, whenever you see that noon fatha with alif na, that means is we. So we send down minas sama'i, from the heaven or from the sky, ma'an is the water, mubarakan is the blessed water, fa'ambatana, you can see the na over there, that means we, and fa means is so we produced bihi with it jannat, in gardens, wahabbal hasid, and the grains of crops. Now let's take another one then, huma. When you apply the ba on that one, it will be then bihuma, and the huma, hum, and hunna rules, when it is preceded by ya or the kasra, then it changes itself to the kasra as well, so it will become then bihima. And similarly hum would become then bihum, and then it would be hunna becomes then bihinna. And now let's see and apply that on the second person. We say that ka kuma kum, ki kuma kunna, and when you apply the ba on the ka, then it becomes then bika and bikuma, bikum, biki, bikuma, bikunna. And now let's apply the ba on the first person pronouns. So when you apply it on the first person singular, it will become then bi and then bina. Now if you remember that in ya is there and there is something before it, the ya forces that thing to change it to the kasra, and that vibration is already kasra, so you don't have to worry about it. It will stay as it is, so it will be then bi. Now let's apply the another preposition particle on the table. Now we know that lam is with the kasra, but one thing you need to remember is that when lam is applied on the pronouns, then lam takes the fatha. So normally it will be lam with a kasra when it's applied on the noun, but when it's applied on a pronoun, this kasra would change to the fatha. So in this case, it will be then lam with a kasra would change it to lam with a fatha. So it will be lahu, lahuma, lahum, and then laha, and lahuma, and lahunna. And those normal rule of hu, huma, hunna has to apply. And in case of the lahu, it will be then, because there is a fatha before it, so we have to apply the rule of 1, which is preceded by a letter with a fatha or dhamma, change the vibration of the hu to inverted dhamma. So in that case, it will becomes then lahu. Now the difference between the hu and this hu is that you have to stretch it by 1 measure. Now that was the preposition lam. To confuse us more, there is another lam in the Arabic which is called as the lam of exhortation, which basically encourage or strongly urge something to do, and in that case you would use the lam with ta'kid over there. Now the difference between the lam of exhortation and the lam of preposition is that the lam of preposition pushes the thing into the jar, while the lam of exhortation do not. Now let's take an example of it so that you can understand it. I've got 2 nouns over here where the lam is applied on it. It said that li zaydin and la zaydin, and you can simply see that from there that this noun has pushed into the jar case, and where you can see that the lam is applied and that noun has gone into the jar. So that lam itself is then the preposition particle. And when the lam is applied on the noun and it do not pushes that noun into jar, in that case that lam would be then the lam of exhortation. So the difference between those two is simply that one pushes the thing into the jar, the other is not. The example of the lam of exhortation is from Surah Al-Adiyat, which is chapter number 100, and which is innal insana li rabbihi lakanud, and then wa innahu ala dhalika la shahid, and wa innahu li hubbil khairi la shadid. And if you see that I'm just putting a stress on there, which says that lakanudun, so that means indeed the human being to his Lord is most ungrateful. Wa innahu ala dhalika la shahid, and he is witness to that. Wa innahu li hubbil khairi la shadid, and he indeed is in love of health intensely. Now you can see that lakanudun, I say that lakanudun, I say that lashahidun, I say also as lashadidun. The thing is that there are stresses in there, and there are quite few stresses, which in the following lesson we will bring a meter, and then you can see the visually them as well. Now let's take another example of preposition lam and the exhortation lam is that la yukallifullahu nafsan illa wusa'aha laha ma kasabat wa alayha ma iktasabat. And that's from Surah Al-Baqarah chapter number 2 verse number 286. And another one which is then وَمَا هَذِهِ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا لَهْوًا وَلَعِبٌ وَإِنَّ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ لَهِيَ الْحَيْوَانُ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ. That's from Surah Al-Ankabut chapter number 29 verse number 64. And in both cases, you can see that the lam is used. But here, in this case, lam with a fatha, which shows that it is used with a pronoun, and it is the lam of preposition or the preposition lam. While in the second case, it has not changed the pronoun to the jar, and that is still in the rafa. So that means this one is the exhortation lam. Now, so that you have learned the difference between the two lams, let's apply that knowledge on here, which I called is lahum trap. You can see in this whole verse, which is from Surah Al-Araf, chapter number 7, 179, and you have seen this verse before as well, but here it is then looked from different perspective. You can see that lahum is used over here, which is lahum kulubun, and lahum is again used here, which said lahum a'yunun, and then lahum is also used over here, which is walahum adhanun. But in this case, if you can see, it is lahum, lahum, and lahum. Since the text is black, we do not understand which kind of hum is used over here, because the hum is same in nominative, accusative, and a generative case, because the lahum is used in rafa, nasab, and jar is the same. So it is used also as detached and attached pronoun. When it's used in rafa, it is in this color. When it's used in nasab, it is used in this color. When it's used in jar, it's that. But which kind of a lam is used this? Because when it's used with the lam exhortation, it should look like lahum over there, which is exactly like here in the black text, which you can't see the difference. But when it's used with the prepositional lam, you still can't see the difference because it's the black text. So lahum over there would be look like that, which is the prepositional lam, and lahum when it's used with the exhortation lam, it will be then in that case. But here we do not understand which kind of lam is used, so it is basically lahum trap. If you think that this one is there, the possibility that this could be that, but if you use of this one, then there is a possibility that that one is used. So that's why I call it as a lahum trap, because you can't understand it from this black text. Now, which kind of lam is used over here? The answer to this question can be answered in lesson number 29, where we will build till that time on the rules which we can apply and then resolve this issue. Now let's take another one, which is the lam with a kasra on the ka, kuma, and kum, and ki, kuma, kunna. So if I apply the lam over there, then it would be laka. As I said, that lam, when it's used with the pronoun, except the first person singular pronoun, you have to change that vibration to the fatha, which is then laka, and then lakuma, and then lakum, and laki, and then lakuma, and then lakunna. And the example of the lakum is then lakum dinukum waliyadi. For you is your religion, and for me is my religion. And then qala ya maryamu anna laki hada, and that's what is used as laki here, because that's the second person and the feminine case, because the Zakaria alayhi salam is asking Maryam alayhi salam about that where that food is coming from, and he is asking that, oh Maryam, where is it coming from? Let's take the lam and apply it on the first person pronoun, where when lam is applied on the first person singular pronoun, then that would stay as it is, because the requirement of this one is that there should be always kasra before it. When it's applied on na, it will become then lana. Now in this lesson we have used two particles, which is then ba with a kasra and lam with a kasra on the jar table. Now in the next lesson we will be using some more, where we will be dealing with the fi and min. So I will see you there. Sadaqallahu al-Azim.